Hi guys, and welcome back to Karting with Sean. In today's video I'll be doing a 3 for 2 members only session at TeamSport Coventry. But before we get into the video, I just want to say sorry for the lack of videos recently. I've been doing a lot of outdoor karting at Mr Karting in Warwickshire, and unfortunately they don't allow you to use helmet mounted cameras whilst you're on track. But just a few days ago I competed in their first ever heavyweight race competition. I unfortunately didn't get on the podium, but it was such a great experience to have, and I hope to be back there soon and finally get a chance to step on that podium. But without further ado, let's get into the action. Now this is actually my very first members only event, and somehow I've been put into kart 21, which was actually the kart that I set my PB in, which was a time of a 42.8. Let's see if I can beat that this session. Almost immediately after the green flags, I've caught up with kart number 9 going into turn 1. We have a little bit of contact there, and he manages to keep me behind for the next few corners, with a bit more contact. So they keep to the racing line here, and I have a look up the inside there, which it's a risky place. And just before the flags as well. I got extremely lucky with that one. But there we go, there it is, the first overtake of the evening. Going back to green flags now, and as you might have been able to see then, there is quite a gap in front of me here. So let's skip to where there's a bit of action. And we're back here a few laps later. Now as this is a members only event, I do not want to get in the way of these people that are extremely quicker than me. So I point to the right there to let this guy pass so he can carry on with his race. Same with this one too, you can see me there pointing to the left to let this guy pass. Now I do try and stick with these two for a while, but they are just incredibly quick around this track and they lose me quite quickly too. I mean, you can see here on this little straightaway the gap that they've just made. But then we go back to yellow flags. So it's now been about 3 laps since the yellow flags you just seen, and I've finally caught up to the next back marker. Now I don't know if you understood what I said there, but I wasn't happy with myself. I had to make quite a big correction going into that big right-hander hairpin, which lost me a lot of time and could have potentially cost me a PB. But now my focus is trying to get past this back marker here, which I don't actually know if you could call him a back marker because he's keeping this space quite well. I take a huge chunk of time out of kart 11 there on the downhill, and I keep fairly close to their bumper through these next 2 hairpins. Now I think that is the very first time I've had a better exit than someone out of that corner. And I'll go for a send up the inside there for another overtake. About 5 laps later and I'm letting this guy pass it. Probably not the best positioning on my end, but I mean I don't really want to get in his way too much, but hey, we didn't make contact, so that's all that matters. And pretty much exactly a lap later I'm catching up with 2 more back markers. One goes extremely deep in here, cutting in front, and ooh, that looked like it hurt. But hey, 2 free positions. Not like it really matters because it's not a race, but we all take them, don't worry. But not too long after I overtake 2 people, I'm letting someone else pass to overtake me. Once again, horrible positioning for me, I should really work on that. But unfortunately, the rest of session 1 wasn't too eventful, and that brings us to an end. I ended the session P10 with a time of 43.7. Wish I got a bit more out of kart 21, but I guess that's just down to me. Getting straight back into the action now with the second session, and I've managed to catch up to kart 7 quite quickly from the green. They have not a great set of corners through there. I managed to close the gap, and through this corner here they take a bit of an odd line, so I stick it up the inside and we go wheel to wheel just for a little bit. They get that straight line acceleration, but I'm once again on the inside there, brake later, and that corner is mine for another overtake. Once again here come a couple more faster karts, and my position once again isn't great. I let these guys pass, and oh god, there's a lot more than I thought. Yeah, that was a bit awkward. And I somehow managed to keep with this guy in front for quite a while, so let's watch it. Yeah, never mind, he's gone. So how that happened was this cart's brakes were very odd. It felt like they were either on or off. So what happened there was I was on the brakes, gradually nothing was happening, a little bit more, and they just locked and I spun, causing that big crash. So thankfully everyone was okay. To be honest, this move here on my inside was probably the most unexpected move of the night. I had a horrible exit out of that, but I managed to keep it side by side with this guy to have a great battle all the way through this bottom section. Now I believe this battle here was with Matt, who I actually met on the night. Great pleasure to talk to you, mate, and even greater pleasure to battle you on track. Hopefully I can see you again on track soon. Maybe we'll be in a team in one of these members events. But you may have saw that I took the defensive line on the pitch straight to go back onto the racing line on the uphill just before flags, so I managed to secure this position, for now at least. Back to green flag racing, and another unexpected move here. Matt sends it up the inside of me. I kind of get squeezed a bit, but it's nothing too bad. We have a nice battle all the way up this hill, but he has the inside, and oh, there's another cut. Now I don't know if what I did there was a bit cheeky, because I did manage to block off the guy in the blue suit, but he has me anyway, and so does that car number 6. I managed to keep side by side with car number 6. As we get to here, it's just a bit rough, but no, I get another snap of oversteer on this exit of the down ramp, and I let someone else through who is quicker. In the first session I let quite a few people through, but in this session I was trying to keep people behind to try and practice a bit of defending, which I kind of did. I don't know if that board was for me, but I still got a thumbs up anyway, just in case it was. And this now brings out the first red flag of the session, and that's overtaken the reds. Oh well, I'll let them pass because they were probably going to pass me anyway. I don't know if that crash up ahead or... No, I can't remember what happened here, but there's the first red flag. And that brings us to the end of another fairly uneventful session. I finished this session P9 with a time of 43.3, getting a little bit closer to that PB time now, but we're still quite a way off. Hopefully we can get it soon. We now get straight into the action with the third session, and after a lap or two I am immediately behind the kart 14 here. Goes a bit wide into that corner and a bit wide into this one here, so I stick it up the inside. Have I made the move? Yes, I have. There's the position secured. A good handful of laps later and we get the second red flag of the session. A few green laps after the red flag and I have Matt absolutely sending it up the inside there. Great move on his half, to be honest. But let's try and keep with him and see if I can get my position back. Now keep an eye on the gap here. He extends a bit going down the downhill, but I get a bit better on the brakes and he has a bit of oversteer on the exit. So now I'm fairly close to his backside, coming up to the 2 chicanes. He messes his entry there and I almost hit him. But as he is much lighter than me, his exit out of the second chicane is so much better, as I can tell you there by pointing to that gap he's making. Now I don't know if he took the wide line there on purpose to let me have a good battle with him or if it was a genuine mistake, but he's extended the gap either way and he goes really deep there. He must want a battle. I take a quick glance over my shoulder there to see where Matt is, and he's not going to make the move, so I stick to the racing line. But instead of Matt being there, it's this guy who has an absolute send on the inside, and we have a good side-by-side battle all the way through this top section, but I managed to keep my position. Now, as much as I want to improve my battling, I did want to just let this guy pass, let him get on with his session. And Matt manages to slip past too, so maybe I slow down a bit too much. Coming on the uphill, trying to stay behind Matt, and there is a guy in the barrier. I'm not too sure how you do it there. He must have messed up the braking quite badly to do that, but hey, some tyre warm was needed by Matt, I guess. And for the rest of this session, I had clean air as Matt built up a huge gap between us. I ended this session once again in P9 with a time of 47.7. Unfortunately, not getting any close to that PB that I'm searching for, but hopefully we'll get there soon now that the tracks are getting cooler, now that the summer's over. And that is the end of my first ever members event at TeamSport Coventry. It's really nice to be on track with people who can race properly and not like public sessions, unfortunately, where they're a bit messy and a lot of flags. But I will definitely be back soon for more. Maybe for some of the mini-game events that they do. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.